on the YetiRadio.com.
It's alive!
The Yeti.
Welcome, everybody. I am the Yeti, and you are at the Yeti Radio. Tonight we have special guests Until the Sun with us for an exclusive interview, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun. But we're going to start off with a little bit of intro music for you. Here they are with New Delilah, right here with the Yeti.
Hey man, give me that bright diamond ring.
All right, everybody, that was New Delilah with Until the Sun right here in the Yeti Radio Studio, live for an interview. Welcome, everybody.
How's it going?
All right.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
No, absolutely. We've got Brandon on guitar. We got Chris on drums. We've got Alyssa on vocals. And we have Jay on bass. Welcome. So you started in 2017.
Yeah, correct.
And you and Chris are the only two original members left.
Yep.
Okay.
Last of the Mohicans.
Well, so far, great job keeping it together and doing an outstanding job with keeping the band together and keeping the music flowing. I read your bio and your passion for the blues. I know I told you at the blues that it shows. Being from the South and not far from New Orleans, it's definitely a pleasure to listen to great blues music. And we've got some. You guys are up there with all the great bands here, local bands that do blues. And
yeah, well, thank you.
Put you guys definitely up at the top of the list. So, if you would, Brandon, I'll let you start. Go ahead and I already introduced you, so tell us a little bit about your background.
So yeah, I started. I'm originally from California. I started playing guitar like probably about 11, and I mean, I always was into music, even younger than that. But I started playing seriously probably at about 11, and got obsessed and locked myself in my room and just played guitar for hours and hours and hours. And yeah, and then I probably transitioned from liking the music my parents liked, which is probably more classic rock, into liking blues music because I went down the path of like finding out who influenced the people that I really liked, and then I just went all the way down, and all of a sudden I'm listening to Blind Lemon Jefferson and Lightning Hopkins and Muddy Waters and so forth. So you went after the people that inspired you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I went down that rabbit trail, and then yeah, I came out to Arizona in college and started some bands and was in some alternative and hard rock bands. And yeah, in 2017, myself, Chris, and a former member, Bruce, started Until the Sun, and we've been doing that since. And then in 2020, Alyssa joined. The dynamic had always been like a cross between male-female vocals, but yeah, Alyssa just kind of took over for the vocals because she's awesome. So
yes, very, very. So where did you come up with the name Until the Sun?
I think that was the only thing that all of us didn't hate. Like, it was nobody's favorite, but it was on the list for like everyone was like, yeah, okay, I could live with that. It was, I don't think it was anyone's first choice, but it was everyone's second choice. So
okay. Does it have a particular meaning, or?
Yeah, I think for us it was kind of like you're in darkness until the sun rises. It's like a hopeful promise for the next day, for things getting better.
Awesome. Chris? So, he already mentioned you're part of the originals and starting it all in 2017. So
I started playing drums in second grade. Had drum lessons, snare drum lessons. Love 80s music. You know, I wouldn't say I'm a child of the 80s, but I love 80s music, which is kind of in contrast to the blues. But I was trained as a jazz musician. I went to undergraduate school on a scholarship for percussion, so I was in the jazz band, the marching band, and the concert band. So I just absolutely love playing music. And then I've been in several bands. You know, in high school bands, I would play the people's like basement shows. I play outside shows. My favorite time of playing is playing outside festivals. I just being a percussionist, being a drummer, I like just the sound of the drums, in outside venues. And then in 2017, joined Until the Sun. Well, right, I think. Yeah. But, we all have eclectic backgrounds in music. Mine's jazz, funk. I like blues, but I really gravitate towards jazz, going over the bar, under the bar, just feeling the music, So I'm really happy that we're able to, like Brandon said, shine that light on a new day, because music's supposed to be felt, and each day you wake up and you can hear music is a good thing.
Well, I think some of your preferences as far as genres go make for a very eclectic mesh of a playing style.
Right, right.
Very, very.
I like all types of music. I like metal. I like jazz. I like 80s. I like it all.
Right.
So as long as you can feel that, and you see people up on stage. Well, I see people up on stage, like in the crowd, like smiling and everything. I mean, that's a win for me. So.
Absolutely. I definitely, like I said, when we were talking outside, I really enjoy you guys on stage. For me, as a music lover, because I'm not musically inclined whatsoever, where my kids get it, I don't know. But recorded music is one thing. It's controlled in the studio. It's an almost perfect environment. And that's good, because it gets to showcase the pristine of the talent. But when you get on stage, the live version, for me, I think is a make or break for anybody. And as long as you can pull off the live, and you guys do absolutely phenomenal with, I think it's a great thing. It just shows all the hard work and extra effort that go into it, because being a former local crew stage tech for a theater, and the things that I got to do and see, it's a job, and you guys definitely make it look. I'm gonna say you don't make it look easy, but you definitely make it look fun. So.
Well, I know for me, when I'm up on stage, I hardly look at any of these members of the band, not because I don't want to, but I like to just close my eyes, and I think we trust each other so much that we don't have to are we coming up on this? Like, we just know,
right.
Innately.
Yeah.
So it just feels good.
Musical telepathy
right.
after you play with someone long enough, and Chris could read everyone's mind.
We do like this.
We do, but I think that's a testament of musicianship and how well you know your instrument. That you don't have to have all these visual cues, that you just know.
Awesome. Alyssa?
Oh, God. I feel like I went back to school. Please tell us who you are.
We'll see if you can talk as well as you can sing.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's a little harder for me. I'm kind of an anxious person. So we all know my name's Alyssa. But, yeah. Anyways, I started out singing. I've been singing, pretty much my whole life, according to my mother. But, in front of people, I was probably 9. And I did a little Miss Landers thing, and I sang Annie Tomorrow. So that's kind of where I first started singing, and my mom realized I could sing really well. And from then on, I've done beauty pageants, I've done plays, I've done competitions. I did American Idol before, but that was terrible.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was a waste of time. But I've just been singing my whole life. I grew up listening to 80s music just like everybody else. My parents love 80s rock, so I grew up listening to REO Speedwagon and Journey and Aerosmith and Don McLean, all those. Yeah, so which is awesome. I love that. That was something me and my dad did a lot, is listen to a lot of 80s music together. So that was those are good memories. What else? My brain's going blank.
You got to do some pretty awesome work over in a studio in California.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with?
In California. Like by myself, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I've done stuff in California. I was in a rap album. Sorry. I'm an anxious person, don't mind me.
No.
Yeah. I did music when I done music like other albums when I was like 16 and stuff like that, and it didn't go anywhere, but it was fun. It was a lot of good experience.
I'm
yeah.
Sure. Definitely chalk it up for experience.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What was it you got to do in Vegas? Who was that? I can't talk and read at the same time.
I did some singing in sorry, I'm ridiculous, don't mind me. In Hollywood. I did like a little show there, which was a lot of fun. It was like forever ago, so I don't really remember a lot of the details because I was a baby then.
Did you do some special performances for somebody in Vegas?
I don't think I did anything in Vegas.
Okay.
You brought receipts.
Oh God, remind me. I had somebody help me write that. So yeah, my publicist.
You had a relative that used to pick on you about singing?
Oh yeah, my aunt. She told me that when I was little, I used to tell her, "Don't be mean to me because I'm going to be famous one day and you'll regret that." Little kids, right?
Right.
But, yeah.
Oh, I apologize. It was in Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I don't think so.
The kids of Nat King Cole and that.
Yeah.
That's
that
pretty
was cool
though. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, at that level, and you're starting off at that.
Yeah, I was pretty young, in my 20s, so
okay.
It's like 21 or something like that. But yeah.
So how'd you meet these guys and decide to join in 2020?
Well, I'm a hairdresser by trade, and during the pandemic, I had nothing else to do, and I love singing, and I was really sad that I couldn't pursue anything at that time, so I just started doing videos. I use that Smule app. Huh? Karaoke. Have you ever heard of it? I don't know if I'm saying it right. Yeah, Smule. Yeah, it sounds so weird, so I don't know if it's right, but but I did videos on there, and my the massage therapist I was working in, the salon I was working at, she was telling actually Bruce, the other singer's wife, and him about me, I guess. And somehow you guys saw my video for whatever reason. I don't really know. I wasn't there for that part, but I got invited to come try out, and that's kind of where it started.
Where the snowball began, and it didn't do nothing but get bigger.
And according to Brandon, he said he wasn't gonna let anybody new come in unless they were good.
No,
he didn't want the drama, he said.
We had gone through quite a bit of drama with some other female singers, and I was just kind of at my wit's end, and I'm like, if she's not awesome, I don't even want to entertain. And I'm like, damn it, she's really awesome. but
now you get to entertain.
Yeah. Luckily, she's sane. So
yeah, I think so. Sometimes.
Well, none of us are sane.
Like most of us.
At least as sane as the rest of everyone.
Yeah. There you go.
It's true. It's true.
There is a variance there. So
yeah.
We're good. All right, Mr. J.
All right. Well, my story is kind of like everybody's except for Dr. Tex over there. I did not start playing drums when I was 2 or however young he said. I started like everybody else, and I'm from Long Island, New York, so I started like everybody else, 4th grade concert band, brass. So I started with trombone. My father had played alto sax and drums in school, so he gave me his alto sax in junior high, and I showed up one day with a saxophone. They're like, "Don't you play trombone?" I'm like, "Not anymore. I know how to play the Top Gun theme song, so I must be able to play." So got in the sax section, and then high school I had a really influential music teacher who kind of would let you take instruments home to learn. Like I wanted to play trumpet, so he's like, "Here, just take this one," and I brought it home, learned like Under the Sea or something for pep band or whatever it was, and then learned trumpet, and then eventually we had French horn players graduate, so I went into the French horn section, eventually got like first chair All-State or something like that for French horn. Went to I was going to go to college but didn't, ended up in the Army for a couple years, and then Ended up going to community college for a year. Didn't play any music really. Then kind of got. I'm skipping a big step now that I think about it. My mother I'd never played in a band until my mom gave me a bass when I turned 16. I wanted a guitar. I did not get a guitar from my mother. I got a bass, which I still have. She goes, you will learn the bass first. Before you learn guitar, you need to learn bass. And I found out last year that my mom also played bass, and I had no idea. A very long-time family friend was like, oh, no, your mom played bass in a couple bands. My mom is an amazing piano player, like ridiculous. She made me learn bass, and she's like, well, you've got 3 months to learn these 5 songs to play with my band. That's some yacht club in the summers. It was, let's see, Wild Nights by Mellencamp, not the Van Morrison version. So I had to learn this weird, that funk intro that Michelle plays at the beginning of that. Then some boring songs that I learned the Guns N' Roses versions of because I didn't like the Bob Dylan version. So I learned Knocking on Heaven's Door, Twist and Shout, and Bonnie Raitt song. I can't remember the title of it now. She just won that Grammy too. Something to Talk About. So I had to learn those songs in like 3 months. I'd never played bass before, so I went through the book in like a couple days with some help from her, and then played in the jazz band in school. And then later in college, I went for music performance as I transferred from community college. After a year, I was almost a junior. I did like 40 credits in 1 year, so it was a lot. Went to jazz band, stage band, all that kind of stuff. Learned upright bass from some guy from some Eastern Bloc country. You can't pronounce his name, and he just laughs. He's an amazing teacher. Just learned a bunch of different stuff, and then a bunch of us decided to move from New York to California. So college is over. We moved to all of us moved to San Diego, like 6 people. Played in a cover band there. Hadn't been in a band like on my own that wasn't like school driven, like charts and the whole 9 yards. So started playing bass in this like 90s, 2000s. This is like 2002. So like, you know, the Weezer and the hits of the time, you know. The singer had to quit and come back incidentally to Arizona. It's something, cancer in the family, something horrible like that. But we didn't want to break up the band. We didn't want to they better be absolutely awesome. That was like a conversation. And it was like, well, you already sing backup, sing lead, which I'd never done before. So I was like, okay, well, let's try these Aerosmith tunes and AC/DC or whatever, Weezer and stuff. So eventually just kind of our 4-piece turned into a 3-piece and became a frontman for like a couple of years. We were having some internal struggles, and then I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I ended up in West Hollywood auditioning for this band that was looking for a bass player for a tour. So I drove from San Diego to LA, or to West Hollywood rather, auditioned for this band, and I remember right before I walked out, the guitar player wasn't even there. So imagine auditioning for a band with no guitar player for a 4-piece. So it's just the singer and the drummer. That's it. So I would be the only music happening, but I heard later they did it on purpose to say, look, if he can play with just the drummer and just the singer, because we know on site, half the time you can't hear the guitar player. Like, you got to look at where are we? You know, this sort of thing. So if you can't hear the guitar player and you know where the heck you are, you automatically like skip a couple steps. And that's kind of like a thing that was kind of, I learned on that tour. Look, as long as you know where the drummer's at, I don't care. You know, sometimes you can't hear on stage or whatever. So I remember right before I'm packing up, they're like, you know, every bass player we've had today that's come in, you're the first positive one that's had like a positive attitude. If we hear one more bass player with like a negative attitude, whatever, so that somebody knocks on the door, some dude comes in, obviously another bass player, they're auditioning other people. And I'm about to walk, thank you, bye. And he goes, man, I just had the worst day today. This traffic is horrible, and this lady's a bitch, and all this other stuff. And the drummer kind of looks at me and like nods. She goes, we'll call you later. I was like, okay. So I was going to drive back to San Diego. I wandered around West Hollywood. Never been there before. Just wandered around the streets. And got a phone call that, hey, if you want it, you're in. I'm like, sweet. So then I had a week to pack up all my stuff, put it all in storage, and go on a year tour. Just play all over the country. So ended up back in Arizona. Ended up playing with Dr. Chris over there in a metal band probably right after I moved here, around maybe 2011 or somewhere around there, maybe 2009. It was before my daughter was born, so it's like 2009, with a guy he kind of plays off and on with now, just this like kind of hard-hitting metal group that kind of didn't go anywhere. Played like a show maybe, and like that's it. And then years go by, and about 2 years ago, I don't remember how, maybe it was Chris. Yeah, I think it was Chris. He said, oh, you know what? This other band, because he's in other groups, you know, this blues band I'm in is looking for a bass player. I'm like, oh, well, what happened to the other guy? Oh, family issues. He has to leave or whatever. I was like, oh, that sucks, but okay, let me, give me information. He gave me, I think, Brandon's information. He's like, look, here's like 5 songs. This is what we want you to learn. Maybe learn some other ones and come on down. So I went down, auditioned. They were auditioning some other people. They chose another guy that ended up not working out after about a year. And then we'd kind of stayed in contact, the 3 of us anyway. And then she's like, hey, I think it's time, why don't you come back and let's see what happens. Now, I mean, you've bumped into a band I played with out here before. My playing is not blues. Like, I've played in a blues band 20-something years ago, but I'm not a blues player. The only blues I know is the Blues Brothers. Like, that's me. I know the Blues Brothers. I know Stevie Ray Vaughan, and maybe some Johnny Lang. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know. He mentions, this Jimmy Smith, or I don't know these guys' names. They're probably all from Alabama or Mississippi or Chicago somewhere. I don't know any of these people. If you weren't in the Blues Brothers movie, I don't know who you are. Blues-wise. Because, I mean, I grew up on, like, the Beatles and Billy Joel and Metallica and Nirvana hit. My dad was like, look, it was 91. He's like, the Black Album and Nevermind came out, like, within a month of each other. And he was a radio guy, so he would get stuff before it hit the air. He was like, these 2 songs are going to change everything. He would maybe not necessarily right with Metallica, but that did bring metal to the forefront of pop music. But Nirvana opened the floodgates for everything in the Northwest. So all those bands out of Seattle and Washington and Northern California all came out of nowhere and, blew Rod Stewart out of the park. So, I mean, that's what I was listening to before, So my influences are more, that kind of New York based, definitely, I can't remember the guy's name, Dave, I think the bass player from Billy Joel. He died, I think, a couple of years ago, but that guy was a big influence, plus like a Paul McCartney, and then, Cliff Burton and Jason Newsted, who's from here, for the bass stuff. I didn't have an amp for a while, so you had to play really hard to be able to hear. So you would just hit really hard, pick your fingers. Actually, I didn't play with fingers back then, but so it was just pick. And in order to hear yourself, you had to play really hard. So then that style kind of translates to your playing. So you can almost hear the strings hit the pickup sometimes, and you get this different. Chris has a weird way of explaining it, and I think it's right. But it's a different, like, it's not aggressive. I'm not Les Claypool by any means, but it has a different sound than like a standard blues bass player where he's just there. He's just there in the back, Yeah. I don't know who the bass player is in Pink Floyd is, but there's a bass player in that band, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know who the hell it is. But you know who Flea is, you know who the bass player in Rush is, because their playing style is so to the forefront. It's not shoved into the back, not that
they're not just playing bass. They're
right. And there's a studio in town, was it Sceneworks, Brad Amick, taught me while we were recording a record that I was doing. He's like, look, well, we're going to do the bass last in the studio. How you were talking before, how like on stage it's different than in the studio, it's controlled. We're going to do bass last. I was like, why? He goes, well, we're going to put the vocals down, put the harmonies in, and then we're going to put the bass in because we're going to harmonize it with the singing. I'm like, oh, that's weird. He's well, bands like Yellow Card and like Simple Plan and they put this moving bass line where it's not the root the whole time, and finding those parts that like go with the vocal parts or like come up here for no reason, where I hear some of this stuff on the record, I'm like, I'm not playing it like that. That's dumb. Like, why would, no offense to BJ or Glenn or anybody else, but I'm like, why would you play it like that? Then again, they're from a blues background. I'm from, nope, you got to move that thing, and I'm not saying like, who's it, Billy Sheehan or somebody's like amazing because the dude's all over the damn place when he plays, but you still need to be able to do that and hold the thing and not overshadow the lead player, the lead singer, the drum fills. You can't overdo it because then you're like, who's this guy? That's dumb. So I'm a fan of running bass lines, not walking bass lines. So it depends on what we're doing. If we're doing like an Elvis tune or something, obviously you have to do it like that. That's fine. But more of my licks are very Green Day and Blink-182 influence. So they're in every song. So whether I know it or not, they just sneak in there. Just like Chris throws jazz stuff every night. We're like, what is that? That's cool, And Chris is like that guy from Whiplash. You just got to be careful.
That's awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and take a quick intermission break and play another song, and we'll get right back to it here shortly. So here's a little more. Here's a little more Until the Sun with Battle Cry. as soon as the cursor decides to show back up. Right here with the Yeti Radio.
Don't wanna live, don't wanna cry, just wanna justify when I die. Tears from my eyes, why not look deeper to the soul of your eyes, of your eyes. And it's a sin with bright as a watch that you broke, trying to get inside. Inside my mind, inside my mind. From a burning hell, now watch as the long goes on. Hear my battle cry and my screams. Don't leave me like this. Do what I do, say what I say, get a line or I'll blow you away. One more battle cry. And if I choose this instead of emptiness, how do I know who I have to be? Here we fight a life for a life with my last breath. Listen to my battle cry. People cannot be when I look in the mirror, and I hate when I see. Never be free, so destroy me. Look down on me, put a crown on me. I'm not a friend, I'm just a trend. So let me apart and take my heart. Never been another just like me today. So you better damn listen to every word I say. From a burning hell, now watch as it all goes on. In my battle cry and my screams, don't leave me like this. Do what I do, say what I say, get a line or I'll blow you away. One more battle cry. Oh, one more battle cry. Oh, one more battle cry.
Thank you.
All right. That's Until the Sun. Right here with the Yeti. Hope everybody's having a great time, enjoying the tunes and enjoying the video. Now that the screen's back live. The only problem with doing this by yourself.
Yourself is the best.
Unfortunately,
I know
because
that sounded
I have problems with
Can't give me the
employees. I don't want, because when somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to and you let them go, yes, you affect their life. It's not your fault, but they're going to blame you anyway. So I just try to do this by myself so I don't have to worry about anything else. And it's not about keeping any or all of any glory to myself. It's just I don't want to deal with the BS.
Yeah. Well, if you want something done right.
Yeah. So, okay. 2019, your first album was Blackheart.
Yep.
And then 2021, you did Drowning in Blue. And then just last year, you did Live a Night at the Rhythm Room. And you guys have some, a little mini tour coming up here.
Yeah, we have some shows coming up in California, and we're playing a festival at Lake Havasu. It's the Woody Stock Festival.
Okay.
And and then after that, we have a car show, like a classic car show, that's coming up next month, and then and that's in Chandler, and then
Okay.
after that, we have another show booked at the Rhythm Room. We're going back So that's in April. And we're looking to be probably booking some more small tours in the near future as well.
Awesome. So what is your essentially your music philosophy when it comes to putting all this together?
As far as like putting the songs together?
Well,
or
in everything in general, because they say keeping a band together is harder than keeping a marriage together. And it's totally understandable as to why. But the philosophy behind your music is what drives it. What's
so as far as like the music itself, it's always to me been kind of, at least from my perspective, and this is just me, my influence, is kind of been crossing traditional blues music and kind of more modern alt rock, some psychedelic rock, and some jazz. And all of our music background's different, kind of like what we discussed. So it's kind of a way of blending all that, but at the core of it, it's all kind of is blues music. And so that's kind of the crossroads where everything meets. And that's kind of musically where we're at. As far as like the philosophy behind our like songs, Alyssa and I write the songs. So I know yours are probably more about your personal past and life
Experiences, yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. You want to? But as far for mine, I kind of look at my songs as snapshots of humanity. So it's everything from love, hate, passion, just all different elements of the human psyche and human nature and the human experience, kind of Polaroid pictures of those in different songs.
okay?
So
That's awesome. So what is your songwriting process?
it's different. I mean, historically, probably before Alyssa joined, it was more, I probably wrote, I mean, I did write all the music and the lyrical content. And then Alyssa's also an avid songwriter, so we're working together on it. And a lot of times she'll bring in lyrics and she'll bring in like a vocal melody, and I'll come up with music that fits that. And then sometimes I'll come up with music and then she'll come up with lyrics, or I'll come up with half the lyrics and she'll come up with half the lyrics. And so it all kind of
Just text back and forth.
Yeah, like what do you think about this line? And then you don't hear back from like 2 days. I'm like, does that mean you hate it? But I think we probably usually just when we hang out and break out the acoustic guitar, we probably make the most headway. Mm-hmm. Right now we have another album we're ready to record, and that's scheduled for the end of March, early April. We're gonna start recording that, and then that's very much in the vein of like a psychedelic blues rock album, kind of trying to capture the vibe of the end of the 60s, Hendrix, Cream, Jefferson Airplane, that kind of vein, some Beatles influence. And then, we're gonna go and do that, but we're also to the point where we're gonna, I think in the near future, really start working on some of these ideas that we put together, both Alyssa and myself, and work on some of these new songs. And we've been talking about possibly doing an acoustic album, and we have a lot of different ideas lined up for the future. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So what's your guys' favorite song to perform?
I'll let you go first.
Well, it's a new one. I really like Dancing on the Floor that we haven't even recorded really yet. Yeah, that one's probably my favorite. Yeah, that one's really good. Otherwise, Battle Cry is really good too because it's kind of fun. Yeah,
Okay.
Brandon wrote that when he was 17, he said. Oh, sorry, 18. Excuse me. Yeah, that one's kind of fun. Anybody else have an opinion?
I also I don't know titles really, but I just know them by numbers. But yeah, Chris helps me with that. I look back at the drummer and go, "What's the name of this one?" He goes, "It's it's number 7, man. It's about lemons. I'm like, okay. Well, because I hear them sing stuff. I'm like, we're trying to put like harmonies and stuff, Brandon and I behind. And so Alyssa's like, oh, why don't you do this over here? And so we're trying to do that. And then we did something the other day, and I was like, are you singing "We're in the bass drum"? Like, what are the words? Like, I'm the worst for thinking. I've written 20, 30 songs myself, and I don't know I don't know what the words are. So I just kind of leave that part out. I don't sing about being in the bass drum or whatever. And what are the actual words? What are they?
That's Your Well, isn't it, that he's talking about?
Yeah, it's the...
That's another new song. Yeah.
But Dancing on the Floor, and then what's the... It's not Battle Cry. It's the other one that's... It's an older one that I like playing. I think I mentioned it to you, too. The 2 that I like playing the most. No. Those are old. It's one from... Newer ones. It's on the live record. It's not Battle Cry. It's the other.
Not Fourth Turning.
It's like no, I don't even know what that is. It's a standard blues 12-bar thing.
Oh, Hell of a Thing.
I think so.
Burning Home.
It might be Burning Home. It's not Fourth Turning. It's one of those two. But Dancing on the Floor is good because it's like a funk. We're really gonna have to lock it together. We've done some preliminary recording stuff for like homework, but we locked that together. I think that's going to be one of the new big ones because it's totally different and it's got a slight psychedelic edge to it, but it's got like I'm talking about Dancing on the Floor. It's got this funk kind of a thing, and Chris has this fancy hi-hat movie I try to catch every time. So and it's this cool 2 kind of thing. Oh, thank you, Thank you, Doctor. Brandon.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is Dancing on the Floor. So when we do that as a single,
can we? When you do that as a single, you guys want to come and we'll release it here on the show.
Sure. Let's do it. I think everyone will like it. It's a song that everyone could just rock jam to. So yeah, that's 3.
Music's New Music Mondays. So we're planning it for a Monday show. You guys show up and do New Music Monday and any other songs that are new for that week. And
so 3 of the 4 members so far think that Dancing on the Floor is the next hit. So what do you think, Brandon?
I don't know. It's like asking to choose your favorite child. I can't do that. I love them the same.
Good answer.
As far as playing, there's a part of me that really loves doing like the traditional blues stuff. So we have a couple slow blues songs and doing Burning Home or Hell of a Thing. Those are more in the traditional vein. So I like playing those.
Like the BB King cover we did.
Yeah. We have a new. We're recording our own version of a BB King song called All Over Again, and yep, and that'll be on the upcoming one. So
we're playing track 3, Jay.
Yeah.
They're my own numbers. It's not even their numbers.
Oh wow. That's awesome. So what's the one most important thing you want anybody that doesn't already know you to know about Until the Sun?
I didn't start this band. What do I know?
That we're in it, and you should check it out.
That we're awesome and fun and talented, and come see us. You'll be able to dance. You can dance to blues music, okay? I don't want to hear it. You can.
I'm a Yeti. I don't dance to anything, but
one show we played, there was this guy that acted like he had orbs, so we were thinking of like maybe doing a B-side of the Orb Weaver.
He danced to blues music. He was shooting his energy at us.
Okay.
I think he had done a couple too many psychedelics back in the 60s.
I guess I shouldn't have skipped that question. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on stage?
I broke the headstock of my favorite Les Paul. Well, it wasn't live, but it was right before going on stage. And at the Whiskey A Go-Go, the headstock of my 1969 Les Paul snapped off. Like, I was like...
Unrepairable?
No, it was repaired, and it was repaired very well. So, there was a I was heartbroken for a brief period of time. So
Put on a good show that night, though.
Well, I've yet to see a bad show, so but congratulations on the whiskey, because as far as I don't know ages, and I'm not going to ask, but me growing up, that was a staple. The whiskey was a staple. If you were going somewhere, that's where you played, and there's a lot of bands from Arizona going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to be said and a lot to do for all of you here. Yeah. So, and that's kind of why what fired me up in doing this was the initial bands that I came across and was like, wow, this is crazy. And then again, the pandemic happened, and then I got introduced to Penny, and here we are, and this is crazy. Do you guys have anything, music videos?
We do.
And have you looked at Focus TV yet?
No.
No. Okay. I guess we'll.
Out, so.
All right. Well, it's a music video platform for independent artists. On their website, they have a waiver to sign and submit that in Google Drive or one of those other drives that you can upload larger files to email to somebody, and then within about 24 hours or so, they get you aired. So
okay.
We'll I'll show you some of that when we get done here, and we'll have some fun with that. So does the new album have a name yet?
Not yet. It's not something we've debated, but
Okay.
We'll be having that discussion soon.
It kind of sounds like Dancing on the Floor might be. Cha-ching.
I didn't get to tell you guys the craziest thing that happened to me on stage.
Oh.
I have one.
Oh,
It was like the second time I played with you guys, and we were outside, and a bee got in my pants and stung my lower back. I had to grab it and twist it and kill it in my shirt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it stung my lower back. It was not fun.
You did a beeline off.
Yes, because I was like, something's in my pants.
That's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well,
I got one.
I got one.
Okay.
So I don't remember if I've played Whiskey Go-Go or not, but then again, I'm from New York, so where's all the New York City venues, CBGBs, all that stuff. We're playing Webster Hall or Theater, I don't remember which one, or Kenny's Castaways, I don't remember, one of these bigger places. We're playing on stage, and this is back when we were touring, so it was like 2005. Hold on, there's an infidel in the room. Yeah, I found somebody's stash over there.
Somebody bought brownies.
So we're playing, and then I look over to my right, and because it was the stage probably only about maybe a little bigger than this room, but all our cases and stuff were stacked off to the side in like the pre-wing area, and I look over, and in the bass drum case, the lid's doing this, like it's popping up, and I'm like, what the, like, I don't know, I just keep seeing, I'm like, am I on drugs? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then I at some point I get to turn around, I'm looking at the drummer, and then I see it again off to my left, so over there. I look over, and the top stays open, and the guy pops out. Like some dude. I don't know who he is. And I have a picture of it, actually. And the guy's got and he stayed in there the whole show. And when the set was done, I walked over and grabbed, because we didn't have cell phones, really, so I grabbed like this Nikon camera I had and took a picture of this guy, like, he was, every time he would open it, he'd scream. And we're like, what the hell is this guy doing in the bass drum case? It was the weirdest thing. I know exactly where that picture is. I'll have to send it to you. It was very reminiscent of David Harbour's Oscar the Grouch. It was ridiculous.
He was probably the one on drugs.
Yeah, he knew the orb weaver. I don't know what's going on with that one. Chris, you got one?
I don't think I do.
What, Chris?
Are you talking about Until the Sun or in general?
In general.
What about the time you lost your cymbal and then you fell?
Oh yeah. Well,
That was
we were at a venue here in Phoenix, and I wasn't drunk. Maybe I was getting into it. Maybe I didn't have the legs of the cymbal stand all the way down, so it ended up falling, and I tried to catch it, and in so doing, I almost fell, and it was kind of embarrassing, but I think I recovered okay.
Were you playing at the same time?
I was trying to.
Not really. It was kind of amazing.
I was trying to be Superman. Well, I have the video, so I'll have to. There is a video, so maybe you can find it.
So if there's anybody you could open for, past, present,
Including dead people?
bring them back to life.
Really dead because it's cryogenics.
I'd open for Jimi Hendrix at the Fillmore, his Band of Gypsies show. That would be awesome.
Nice. Definitely have to agree.
I've never really thought about that exactly. I mean, Whitney Houston would be cool. I mean, I love all the powerhouse singers, so if I could be not open for her, but like sing with her, that'd be freaking brilliant. Yes.
Awesome.
The band doesn't exist anymore, but everybody in the band pretty much does. Currently, they're called the Lords of 52nd Street, I believe, but it's Billy Joel's band. I'd love to open either for Billy Joel or the Foo Fighters, one or the other.
I don't believe they exist anymore. At least many of the people don't. But the Cars are one of my favorite bands, so I would love to open for the Cars.
That would have been a good guess for you. And I don't know why. Let's see. With the changes in the music industry over the last 40 years, the things that I've seen, when I was growing up, to have a successful music career, it was the gold album or the platinum album. Today, those still occur. I don't think they occur like they did back then because of technology. So today, what would you consider a successful music career?
So, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to judge. There's people who died poor playing small venues like Robert Johnson or Lonnie Johnson, or and there's other people who couldn't even make ends meet through a portion of their career. Like, I think Buddy Guy worked as a tow truck driver and a mechanic until he was in his 30s. And like all through the 70s, Albert Collins was laying down brick and working construction.
Right.
And John Lee Hooker was working as a janitor to support his musical career. So, but 20, 30 years goes by and these people are now legends, and they may not have been able to buy nice clothes and a nice house. And monetarily, not necessarily successful monetarily. Yeah.
But on a personal level for you guys, what's your level of success? Obviously, you're doing tours and getting to do what you love to do. So along that lines, would it be bigger tours, just being able to sustain what you do?
Yeah, for me, I just want to make as much of an impact as we can. I just want to be able to put out music that is touching the audience and makes them feel the music and just love it. And there's almost no better feeling on earth than being on stage and where you know that the audience is feeling it and they're feeding that energy back to you, and it becomes like a positive feedback loop. So that's just one of the greatest feelings. As far as what success looks like, if we get to the point where we could just get an audience where we could do tour basically anywhere and pack in a venue, that would be pretty awesome. So
awesome.
The other day, you mentioned the gold and platinum. I saw a video the other day of Bon Jovi on TikTok or Facebook video, one or the other. He got an award from Spotify giving him, I think it was an insane, like 10 billion streams of Living on a Prayer, like some insane number. That's way past gold or platinum sales. If you had 10 billion single sales back on cassette in the day, it's ridiculous.
Well, that would be Diamond.
Yeah, we're not John, so we're not going to achieve that level of success until we're his age, maybe, you know. But for me, I would think that, and I had a very small taste of it years ago, but if you could do nothing but play in the band, and that sustained your family, your home life, so nobody's got to work, essentially, so all you need to do is, because, I mean, this is fun, right? I mean, everybody wants to do what's fun. So it'd be like, hey, let's go, you know. And I hung out with these guys last weekend, not in a rehearsal setting for, like, the first time. And I'm like, this, mostly, like, you know, somebody hates the guitar player hates the trombone player. You know, so somebody's arguing that the singer's crazy. You guys have had that plenty of times, apparently. So you don't invite her. She's just burn the house down. But everybody, it's fun to see. I mean, you get in a band and it's like being married, right? So everybody's got to get along with each other, and if everybody's personalities click, it works. So if that works, and then if you already get along, and then all you have to do is play music, and nobody's got to worry about, well, should I get the utility bill or this or that, and you're just catching residuals off of packing all of these venues, and you know what, we're just going to go to Vegas and book a small, you know, Prince did that show at the Marquee years ago. It was like the Marquee, like the place seats 2,000 people, and it's Prince. Like, he could have played at the arena and packed it. And I think Green Day did the same thing. Like, that's, if you just randomly show up and you pack the place, that's fantastic. And then if you do enough of those, eventually you don't need to work anymore. So I mean, touring and all that stuff isn't the same like back in the day, you know, but if all we could do is play music and that's it, I don't know what else you would want to do, really. Right. I mean, why go to work if this is, we're going to write another song about, you know, the beekeeper with this bee in the shirt or whatever we're going to have to write now. So, and that'll happen. I'll feed that into the chat.
Somebody just
went, or whatever.
Mental note, beekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that guy over there. That's why he's the doctor.
Well, since there are two veterans in the band, on Instagram there is a beekeeping for veterans page.
Time to make some honey.
We need to all dress in beekeeper outfits and play a show.
Yeah. Well, I know when I worked in Vegas, we did the Beach Boys. They came in on different planes, rode in different limos, stayed in different rooms, escorted completely separately. The ones that were left. Tears for Fears.
I love Tears for Fears.
Oil and Water.
What?
Don't. On stage is it.
So it's like
No.
the police. Like, they
Yeah.
don't want to hang out.
No, and I don't understand how they did what they did with that environment. That's, to me, that's toxic.
I think the Rolling Stones too. I think it was basically like during their Bridges of Babylon album, like Mick Jagger's lawyer and Keith Richards' lawyer were basically sending messages back and forth for them about the track that they were recording because they wouldn't talk to each other.
It was as bad as divorce court.
Yeah.
And the child supports for the kids or for the songs. So yeah, and I understand it, and but they still did it, and so when you click, and you get along and want to be around each other and want to make music, I'm sure they did in the beginning, and then everything just blew up because of personality differences and people change. But I think when you click is the best time to get the essence of what your band is and about, and definitely be able to tweak it and make the best out of it. And you guys are doing an awesome job. So,
thank you.
In my opinion. Unless hell freezes over, I'll be at the Rhythm Room. I've yet to make it to the Rhythm Room, so if I don't get to make it before then, I'll definitely make it that night, as long as the planets and stars align.
All right.
But definitely. How do you feel about some of the technological changes in music? One band from here, the lead singer's in Florida, and they send stuff back and forth. And to me, that's I get it, because I've used some of the programs that you can do this with. And my buddy in Washington that got me into this, is Jeff. He we do that, send stuff back and forth, but at our level, it's minute and mocksnicks. But at a band level, I'm just like, wow, you got to be able to be. I don't know if it's open-minded or.
Let's
ask the doctor.
Perhaps maybe help you. I know people that do that. They send stuff back and forth. I also know people that physically play at the same time, and they're clear across the world. And I mean, like I said, when I'm up on stage, I hardly ever look at any of these members. Not because I don't want to, but I'm feeling the music.
Right.
And if you're a real musician and you know your instrument, you really don't have to be in the same room as the other people.
Right.
I think we're gonna on our next album. I think we're gonna try to do a live sense in the studio. We're all playing at the same time and getting that intensity and that emotion. But I think if you're true to your craft, you don't physically have to be in the same room. You can be across the pond and play music. It would be interesting to try that out and see if anything sonically changes. I don't think it would, but I mean, me personally, I would rather be in the same room as all of these members.
It's like being in a long distance relationship. It's
well, yeah,
you can do it, but it's not as fun.
But you're going to have to do it over and over and over, and send it back and forth until you get it right, which is more time consuming.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't necessarily know if it's affecting the cost effectiveness of it, but I think it's a little more strenuous on it. I know there was a band that used to be from here. 3 of the members are all over California, from San Jose to I want to say San Diego, and it's either the bass player or the drummer that still lives in Phoenix. Jed's a millionaire. They were apparently pretty popular several years ago, like 10 or 15 years ago, and but I met the drummer. He happened to come into one of my shows, saw it somewhere, and he's like, "Hey, what's it take to get played on your show?" And I said, he goes, "Well, we all used to be from Phoenix." I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" The drummer, bass player, I forget his name, is still here, so it'll still qualify. So it's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank both of you for your service.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for all your hard work in the music. It definitely shows on the recordings and on the stage. That's you guys definitely show up to perform and let everybody know what you're all about and how much you love playing. So
well, thank you. And thank you for having us.
Oh, it's an honor and a pleasure. Everybody, this is Until the Sun, and we're going to close out with a song called Hell of a Thing right here on the Yeti Radio. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the interview, and we'll catch you on the next one.
It's a hell of a thing
All right, everybody. I'm the Yeti. That was Until the Sun right here for an exclusive interview. I want to thank them for coming and hanging out. It was a great time. I hope everybody got to learn something from them, and hope you have the super desire that I have to go check them out live, because you won't be disappointed. I guarantee it. So, and if you are, let me know, and we'll figure out how to fix it. Maybe it's not your cup of tea, but we'll get you to something that is, because some people are just complicated. But thank you for joining me. Have a great